Hey guys, welcome back. This is a pretty special video. I've decided to do it since in the last couple of days I came across lots of games by both by me and some other players, and throughout my life I came across lots of situations where chess players I felt had the completely wrong idea of how can you win or beat a high rated opponent, stronger opponent. Some misconceptions that I wanted to kind of debunk in this video. So I created this presentation for you guys to show you some tips and ideas of how to win against a high rated opponent. Of course, just a disclaimer that if you want to beat high rated opponent from the very beginning, you are aiming to do that. Obviously, you must take some risks, and if you want to improve your chances of winning, obviously you will have to give up of some of the solidity and some of the, let's say, risk-free positions that you might be aiming for. So if you're thinking about making a draw against a high-rated player, you might take a different approach. So in this video, we're only going to, let's say, maximize our chances of actually winning the game. So let's start. Tip number 1, play tricky openings. Basically, be prepared with some opening traps, opening ideas. Because when you play, for example, a title player, a grandmaster, international master, he would normally try to avoid any kind of opening confrontation. Most of them would try to basically outplay you in the middle game, in the end game. So if you can pose any kind of theoretical problems for them from the very first moves, that's a good idea. Also, of course, in the highest levels of chess, and the higher rated the opponent is, the more likely he's familiar with some, mainline opening theories, some very traditional openings. So if you want to increase your chances of winning, it definitely makes sense to play some offbeat openings which are very aggressive, which increase the chances of some quick attacks, of some tactics. Basically, openings that strive to put some immediate problems to your opponent, which is might be more experienced, but if you put enough pressure on him from the opening, he might already get a little bit uncomfortable. And this will later on might cause him to be kind of less certain about his moves, and he will be in his kind of comfort zone where he wants to be. And where he wants to be usually just a scenario where the position is, very much dry and technical, where he can outplay you. Tip number 2, strive for complications and tactical positions. This means that in complete opposite to what most people think, if you want to, when you play against a high rated opponent and you want to get him out of his comfort zone, you should actually strive for complications and tactics. Because, as I already mentioned, what your opponent wants when he is a high-rated player is usually to play a very calm game where his experience and his better understanding of the position, he will outclass you, outmaneuver you, outplay you. So as much as possible, you should strive for complications and tactics, because in very complicated positions, the chances of your opponent going wrong is getting much higher. Obviously, there is also bigger chances of you going wrong, but if we want the highest amount of winning chances, we should definitely take this risk. Tip number 3, try to lure your opponent into time trouble. So this one is fairly obvious. Any chess player, it doesn't matter if you are a world champion or a beginner player, any chess player can make very big mistakes in time trouble. This is why you should definitely, as much as possible, strive to get your opponent into time troubles. And there he might, out of nervousness, with a lack of time, create very big mistakes that will cause him to lose the game. And you are much more likely to put your opponent into time trouble if you put constant pressure on them throughout the game, which is slightly connecting to tip number 1, which spoke about opening preparation and opening traps and ideas, because if you manage to do that from the very opening, you're much more likely to put him pressure over time, and he's more likely to get himself into time trouble. Tip number 4. This one is pretty funny. Decline draw offers. So obviously, if we want to win, we have to decline draw offers. But amazingly enough, most players that will face a high-rated opponent, especially if he's much higher rated or if he's a title player, they will get very excited when they offer a draw, because they get the opportunity to make a draw, and this way they fix the result. They know they didn't lose the game. For them is a success. But you must always remember, if your opponent is much higher rated than you, he's only offering a draw because he feels uncomfortable. He doesn't like his position. Otherwise, he wouldn't offer a draw. He would try to beat you. If he would think that the position is equal, he would not offer a draw, for example. So this definitely is a good sign. If your opponent is offering you a draw, this is the moment for you to be suspicious, to tell yourself, maybe he doesn't like his position. This is my chance to try and outplay him, try to beat him. And you must remember that accepting the draw might look very tempting, but this would mean that you will miss your chance to beat this opponent, because if you will play him again, very likely you wouldn't get the same opportunity. So, chess always imitates life. In life, you must seize opportunities in order to succeed. And also here, you must avoid making draws, or, taking the draws when possible, and try to win. Of course, it might cause you to lose the game eventually. But if you ask me, this is the way to improve. You must be willing to fight and to win. And basically not give your opponent too much credit, which leads me to tip number 5. Be calm, trust yourself, and give your opponent, actually it should be, don't give your opponent too much credit. This is a small mistake by me, sorry for that. So basically, the idea is not to give our opponent too much, respect and credit, because when we do that, we give ourselves a lot of worries. We're feeling inconfident. It might cause us to lose a lot of time on the clock, and we will commit more mistakes. We will be uncertain of our moves. So it's better to be confident. Maybe you will make more mistakes, but if you want to win your opponent, you must be confident. I think if you don't have confidence in your winning chances, you will never win. Also, a very important point about this is always search for opportunities and keep on fighting, even if you committed a mistake, even if things didn't go very well for you in this game. I see lots of players and people, get very upset, get very much angry after they commit some mistake early on in the game versus a high-rated opponent. They already give up in their mind. And I suggest to do the opposite, to actually take it as a challenge and say, well, my position is bad, but, well, this is good. It means that now I have nothing to lose. Now I can try to beat him from a bad position. And if I lose, I lose. Nothing so bad happened. And most important point of this whole video, your opponent fears you more than you fear him. If you are rated, let's say 1700, you play against an opponent which is rated 2200. It means that he is much more nervous, he has much more to lose. He's rated 500 points more than you. If he loses the game, he might lose a lot of rating points. He might, it might ruin his tournament or his reputation. He would feel very bad about himself. So he feels, he must win. You don't have to win, you know. For you, any result would be good. If you win, it's very good. If you make a draw, that's also good. If you lose, that's also okay. You know, you're rated much lower. So any result will be good. In general, guys, I would suggest to always strive to play against high-rated opponents if possible. This is the way to improve. This is the way to get better. Don't fear these situations. Take them as a challenge. Take them as a learning experience. With this, I wanted to wrap up this presentation. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this presentation and my content on this channel, please subscribe to the channel. Please make a comment about whether you like this format or not. Please also give this video a thumbs up, a like, in order to kind of improve my YouTube algorithm and make YouTube kind of more likable of my videos so they can get more promoted and reach other people that can also benefit from those videos. So, thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next videos.